Righty ho. Now that we've covered how to roar, I'm just going to go over a few different types of roar. Now, I'm no expert by any means. I just go out and make a hell of a racket, and hopefully the deer answer me. Now, if the deer are roaring, if the stags are roaring really well, it's best not to roar at all and just sneak in on them, just listening to their own roars. But if you're cruising through the forest and there's nothing, no sound, I suggest every 5 or 10 minutes, cover like 100 meters or so, and then let out a roar such like this. That's always seemed to work for me. It's kind of an inquisitive roar. It carries really well. Try to really get a lot of air going out with that roar so the sound carries. It's no use letting out a little it's not going to carry. You really need to get that sound carrying. Now, one of the reasons I use that kind of roar is because it's the loudest roar I can muster, and I think it sounds a little bit inquisitive, a little bit challenging. And once the other deer is roaring back at you, what I'll quite often do is I'll imitate his roars and maybe make my roars just a little bit gruntier to get him worked up. And then as you get closer in, it's quite important, I think, to tone your roars down just a little bit, because if you outroar that other animal, he might decide that you're bigger and tougher than he is. He might shut up shop and bugger off. But if he thinks he's got the upper hand and your roars are just a little bit more toned down than his are, he may well come charging right on you, or he's just going to keep roaring, telling you to back off. Now, really important once you get close into a stag is not to go straight on in. If he's roaring really well and you're confident you know exactly where he is, by all means push in, have a look at him. But if he's being kind of cagey and just roaring intermittently, what you want to do is get close to him and then walk parallel. Let out another moan, walk a little bit further, let out another moan, and then back again. Because what stags will quite often do, they'll come to within 50 metres to 100 metres of each other and they'll have a standoff. And one stag will walk this way and the other stag will walk that way, and they'll moan a bit and then they'll walk back and moan again. You'll find sometimes that as soon as you get close, that stag will come right in on you, crashing through the forest, all crazy wanting a fight. Other times they'll shut up and they'll sneak in and have a look. So every stag reacts differently, guys. My advice is to just get out there, get as much experience as you can, and have a bloody good time doing it. And really important also when you're coming in on a stag is to try to figure out, if he comes towards you, which direction is he going to come in. So if there is a good deer trail approaching where he's roaring from, stay on that deer trail or just off to the side of that deer trail. Get your lighter out, make sure the wind's in your face. If it's not, sidle around a bit so you're coming right on in the wind, because quite often the stag will walk to one side or the other of you without you realising, and then they'll cut your wind and it's all over. So just sneak in, be really quiet, listen for that stag moving through the bush. Quite often you'll hear a rustle, or you'll hear a twig breaking, or you may just see that stag ghosting through the forest, head back, antlers flat on his back. Now, it's amazing how quietly those things can move through the forest. It almost has to be seen to be believed, really. So keep your wits about you, eyes, ears, nose, use all of your senses to outsmart that deer. And when you get close in on a stag, guys, a couple of different things to think about. Which way the wind is going. Make sure that wind's in your face, because it can swirl around. The wind may be different when you're getting close to the stag than it was 100 metres further back. So continually keep checking that wind. Make sure it's blowing in your face. If it's swirling around a bit, you may want to just go on really quickly before he can wind you. But if you've got a nice steady breeze, just take your time, cruise on in there. It's a good idea to check how open the forest is ahead of you and to the side. If that stag comes in, are you going to be able to get a shot? So if the forest is really thick and quite thick, bushy, if it's a bushy forest, zigzag backwards and forwards till you get a clear lane of sight. Once you've got a clear lane of sight, it's a good idea to just wait there and try to get the stag to move to you. Otherwise, if you try to push on into it, you can get really close and he'll freak out when he hears you coming and realises you're not a stag because you're making so much bloody noise. Another way to get them worked up if they're not moving out of a thick bit of cover is to snap some branches, crash around, act like you're all angry and you're smashing your antlers against this and against that. That can make them quite work up and make them move out towards you and suss you out. Another thing to think about is if that stag comes into you, where is he going to come? Is he going to come on an existing deer trail, or is he just going to crash on in? So if there is a well-used deer trail going to and from his rut pad or his wallow, try and come in on that trail, because 9 times out of 10 that's the way he'll come towards you. Now, I do have these roaring horns for sale. Yes, this is a piece of vacuum cleaner pipe. You can make your own, or you could just give me $10 and I'll send one towards you. I actually risked the wrath of a woman, and I cut this off the vacuum cleaner and shortened the vacuum cleaner by about a foot. She noticed it straight away, of course, because it doesn't really, when she goes to sweep forward, the cleaner drags along behind her. So I got in trouble for making my roaring horn. If you don't want to keep in trouble and keep home relations happy as Larry, send me an email, kiwibushgear@gmail.com, and I'll whack one of these in the post for you. It's pretty simple. It's just a roaring horn with a hole drilled in it, and you can tie whatever piece of string you want on it, and away you go into the bush. This will help me fund my video production, and you can support my lavish lifestyle. So this is a learning experience, guys, for you and for me. I'm continually learning stuff out in the bush and when I'm not in the bush. So if anyone has anything to add to this video, please guys throw it in a comment, and the next video I make, I'll add those bits of information in there. I'm always open to learning new stuff, as I'm sure you guys are too. So by all means guys, throw in your 10 cents worth. Cheers.